Hey all, we are at WWT, or as I like to call it, Gateway. That's what it was called when they first added it. Yeah, I know we're in the lead, but that truck behind us is really fast. And right now, we're pretty much in the lead. It was a caution, I don't know, about 10 laps or so in. And I wasn't in the, I don't think I was in the, but I took tires, nobody else pitted. We had a 90 lap run, and we can go about 60 on gas. The first two stages only 30, and I noticed I didn't like the wear on the tires and so on, so I made a bunch of adjustments, all of them positive, with the exception of one issue on fire off. Tends to be very tight off turn 2, but I'm hoping that will, that will benefit later in the run because it gets loose. It runs loose, and I'm trying to manage that better because it was not slidey loose, it was right rear loose, but it was getting loose like as soon as I hit the apex in 3 and 4, and it was over rotating into the curb a lot. A little snug out the track are totally different. It's a little egg shape, so you have a wider entry into 3 here and a longer turn with a gentler exit off. So what I actually did was I had a really good setup here. I took that and I adjusted it with some of the things that Kentucky in the last few races. Now, why Kentucky? Because Kentucky is a flatter track, turns 3 and 4. I mean, there's some banking, but you're basically flat, and you're going in it really fast, about 25 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour faster than you are here. And if it worked there, then I'm figuring it would work here. And it seems to have helped. There's other issues. This is a very tricky track to drive. You got to drive the 2 corners totally differently. And to get max out of it, you kind of like got to hang it out. You also got to be near perfect. Because all the grip is down by the white line at both ends. Yeah, you can, if you have that fast a setup, you can, waste a lot of time diamonding the corner and such. But fastest, yeah, I messed that up, is right down there on the white line, especially off the turns. And more so off of 4 here. There's like a window, like you're doing a moonshot or something. You can't be too high, you can't be too low. You gotta hit it just so. Now I got it handling really good out of 4, so I have excellent maneuverability there. Less so in turn 2 after the adjustments. So I'm not slow. I have speed down the straightaways. These guys are on 10 lap older tires than me. My goal here is before I have to pit, because I will have to pit before the end if there's no caution, especially. Creed is just as fast as me. He's got the momentum fire. He's on fire symbol, and so he's faster than the rest of the field. He's basically fast as me. I'm a little faster on the long run, about a half a tenth a lap, but on a track like this, that can make it really, really hard to pass, especially if you have no maneuverability. So he tends to pass me early on in the run, and then I pass him back a little later. I passed him because he didn't pit, and I pitted, and I had fresher tires, so I kind of blew past him. But look, even in traffic, he's not that far behind me. He's in traffic now, so he's in that pathway. So I'm trying to gap him as much as I can. 'Cause you never know. We might have to go head to head. And, you see on the replay, we were trading the lead back and forth a few times. If the replay decides to show it to you, we'll figure all that out. See, this is what I was hoping for. Getting out front with fresh tires and building up a big gap, a cushion, so then going down the end of the race, I can experiment a little more on the setup. Now already I know from the couple of adjustments I made that made it better, but I know I kind of need to do. I need to make some major changes. It's not bad. It's not bad at all, but see that 70% on the left side front and 72 on the right? Yeah, that was like 4%, and I got it down to about 2%. I don't know what it'll be on the long run, and that's not horrible, but if you see the camber, the temps left to the middle are not that bad, so it must be a weight issue. And I think part of what the problem is there's not enough weight on the right front, so I added wedge, but it tightened me up off turn 2. Now I might be able to just add wedge and add right rear tire pressure, but I don't want to make a radical adjustment without testing and stuff in the middle of a race. And since I am fast, I don't want to go too far with that, but I will test a little bit in that direction. So you see the right rear? See, now we're getting down like 20 laps into the run, so it's starting to wear the right rear a lot more. Now that was about twice as bad, and I got it better than that. Essentially, what I'm seeing here as we're talking is, yeah, all my adjustments help, and we still got a fast truck, but I think I need to up the wedge, put more weight on that right front in the race, and then maybe risk adding some right rear tire pressure, and maybe to offset that we'll add some left side tire pressure so we don't get too loose on the long run. But at the same time, everything I'm talking about might be great, but if I pit according to plan, we'll only have like 20 laps to go. So kind of like for 20 laps I can put it back the way it was at the beginning of the race. But that's what I'm thinking. There's other things I can do. I'm in the ballpark on a really excellent setup. See, here's where it was getting way too over-rotating, and I was kind of hitting them or hitting the curb if I was next to the line. Not bad, just slowing me down a little bit here and there and making it harder to stay ahead of Creed early on. We're pulling away from him still, which is good. So I get about 63 laps of gas on a pit stop, full tank. So I'm not 100% sure I can go 63 laps with tires, because the right rear is wearing a lot. But I can go 45. That wouldn't be an issue, unless it got stupid loose, which it might. But one other thing that I was having an issue with is we're getting to halfway. Is again the left front was closer to 200. Wouldn't really get hotter than 212 at the very beginning of the run, and the right front wasn't getting up to 230, 100. So here we are, about 20 laps into a 60-something lap run, low 60 lap run, closer to halfway, and we got 230 at this end, about 225 at the other end on the right front, and 215 on the left front, and that's been going down. So that's one of the things that I look for in my setup, because it means I can retain similar steering characteristics throughout the run. Why is that important? When you're building a brand new setup, or a setup for a track, you want to dial, I always want to dial the front end first. If I get the front end in, which means that I can drive it, whether it's loose or it's tight, wherever I am on the track, then I can, concentrate on the rear end and get the balance right. So, in other words, instead of going in, well, how many? We have 4 corners. So essentially, going in 4 different directions, you narrow it down to 2, front end and rear end. And then, if you're lucky and you got everything else right, then you're fast. And if you're not, at least you have a car or truck that drives. And that's half the battle. So now you can concentrate on figuring out how to make it fast, since you do have a baseline setup now that can drive the track, hopefully for a whole fuel run. Yep. Now we're getting into traffic and he's not. And we're getting a little loose too. So I don't know, you guys, anybody drives without force feedback, because I feel in the wheel, like when I'm, I just felt off turn 2, it's getting loose. It gives a little wiggle kind of thing, like the right rear is about to chatter or is just chattering. It's not sliding yet. And that's critical for me to feel, because if I don't have that feel, I can go down in the next turn. Yeah, I was expecting that, so it slipped a little bit. And as you can see, the right front is going down in tire pressure, in temperature, and the right rear is going up more. That's loose. Loose off in particular, right here. In the middle off. So he's catching me, and I got fresher tires in him. That sucks. But that leads me into another issue with a track like Gateway, Kentucky, Martinsville, Darlington. These tracks are very technical tracks, more so on the Heat Series, and kind of a bit like a road course, because you got different turns at each end of the track. You got to drive them differently. Well, every change you make, might help you in one part of the track, might mess you up everywhere else. Or it might help you in one part of the track, or half the track, and mess you up in the other half. It might mess your middle up, which was perfect before. And so basically, after every change in each fuel run, you got to learn how to drive the damn thing all over again to get the speed out of it. Because when you go down in here, see, I've been running this the whole time, and I got it to where I'm much better at corner entry and getting through 1 and 2. 1 and 2 I always struggle at here, because it seems to always slows it down too much in the middle of the turn. And we're not slow, but we don't have all the security, so it's hard to just let it hang out, because you're afraid if I hit it that hard, it's just going to go on me. And I am in the lead. I have a good shot of winning this race, and so I don't want to mess that up. See, that's right rear slide. That's slidey. So it just got slidey off of 2. I'm a little bit off 4 here, but it's an easier turn when you don't have trucks to run outside of anyway. Past some of these trucks, and he's got to go through these trucks. And he's in a pit about 10 laps earlier than me. which will give us another advantage if there's no caution and we can, keep up decent speed, is we'll once again have 10 lap pressure tires. And it looks like we're going to need them. And this setup also, those of you who have been following my setup tips, yeah, everything in this truck is like it's a high wedge, high front weight setup. I lowered the front weight a little bit because I noticed in the default, which is still up on the other setup in this career mode, that they have a ridiculously low, like 48.8 front weight, and I'm like, but the truck hates that. My experience is, if you're gonna, you're working on setups, the trucks start with a high weight, high front weight, high wedge, and work from there, because the truck seems to like it, and that's weird for me because it's a pickup truck, right? And half of the truck is a cab. And, the engine's up front, right? So most of your weight is up front anyway. I used to sell these things, and, you have most of your weight up front with heavy springs on the back in real life, so you can carry stuff, right? Like half a ton of stuff, that's 1,000 pounds. So you don't have 1,000 pounds on the front. So when it's empty, and I know that in racing we do things a little differently. We manage the weight a lot better, but maybe it's the aero, with the big kind of sail of the windshield and the cab, but these trucks like a lot of front weight at a lot of the tracks. Not every track, but, most of them, it's a good bet. And I know a lot of guys who run high wedge setups in the trucks. Not exclusively, they found that's what works by trial and error. Because there's all kinds of setups. I prefer like a low wedge setup, but getting the grip is hard. And I know there's a bias in the heat games for weight. You get the weight plays a bigger deal than I guess maybe in real life. So working those weights, like but see, that's kind of like opposite of the way I think. If you put weight on the front, right, you got a full tank of gas, which is in the back, right, under there somewhere. Well, as the tank empties, and I'm sure the trucks only, but cars too, as the tank empties, you're taking weight off the back. Now I know for a fact 20 gallons of gasoline weighs about 400 pounds, okay? So you're taking 400 pounds and shifting it from the rear of the car to the front. So that has a tendency to make it tighter, right? So you set your car up for the balance, right? At least I tried it, so that when I get down with almost no gas in the tank, I'm not over tight, I'm still loose. So you set it up where it gets loose as you go through the run. You maybe start out a little tight, which sometimes can hurt your fire off speed. And then of course it depends on what you're setting it up for. Like this track, you got 30 lap stages and you want to win everything, well then you might loosen it up for the short stages, for the 30 laps, and you might tighten it up for the long run, 45 to 45, or 60, 30, or whatever combination that works best for you. And I will always still say, when you have like a run where you got to pit, and it's not a 2 full fuel runs, figure out how, when you really slow down, and run, split it where you're pitting where you're still relatively fast or faster than everybody else, and then pit. Even if it's, a few laps longer. If you're not faster than anybody else, then and a lot of times you're so close that you can't tell. What I do, like I plan to do here, is I'll run it out, because I don't think I'm that slow. I usually have good end of run speed. And I'll run it out, and I'll bet on having, you know, maybe a little fresher tires than everybody else has. Terrible corner. That's not the setup, that was me. This is the 10th place guy. So the other thing that's good is now there's only, you know, 9 guys on the lead lap. Technically, you know, caution out, he gets his lap back. So 10. Oh, and there they're pitting. I got 14 laps of gas. I don't think I have 14 laps of tires. I have 14 laps of gas, and they're pitting. So I gotta make this thing last as long as possible. But now that we get down to the end of the run, this far into it for the first time, we can take a look. This is where your setup's ending up. I am not overly loose. Yeah, I can drive it. I can't push it, but it's not significantly slowing me down. It's slowing me down a little bit. You know, whenever you're loose. You know, like here it's slowing me down. Because I can't, you know, get in there and be aggressive. I have to make sure I don't wreck myself while I'm trying to get by these guys. No matter how much faster I am. So I'm still running 34.5s, and that's with passing guys. And that's good. I'm not jamming my foot on the gas. I'm feathering it until I'm confident to put it, you know, put my foot down. And I'm watching my right rear. The light's going to come on in a minute. And this is bad. This is why you want to balance on the setup. Because ideally, I would stay out 12 laps. But now it's going to start wearing, the right rear is going to start wearing even more. So that's going to mess me up. But we only got 22 laps to go. So pretty much anything I do here, I'm going to end up being able to run full out to the end of the run. I am faster than them starting off, but only for about maybe 5 laps. And then Creed, you know, Creed catches up to me, but only Creed. So that's my bet. Those guys haven't pitted yet. He's got fresh tires, the 88. He's gonna box me in. I usually roll it in, but again, I'm trying to hedge my bet. Well, I only lost 1% doing that, and I was really aggressive. See, we're not spinning out or nothing. Actually, fairly impressive for the setup. Look at how much we're on that right rear. But that's probably the gas, you know, taking some weight off of it, easing it up a little bit, just enough. So we're still running 34.5s, man. That's awesome. There we go. See, that little maneuver got me loose, and I know I lost some. Yeah, you can do that with the AI. See, now it's so loose it won't turn in. Got 14 laps left. Let's see if I can get down to 4 laps to go, or at least 5 laps to go. Lost 3/10 there. It's hard to feather it, but if you're disciplined and you practice it a lot, every track except Daytona and Talladega. Well, I do it there a different way, a different reason. can't believe 88 hasn't managed to pass me. Lap traffic had a lot to do with that. And that second place car is the 18 behind me there. And I've been gaining ground on him, which is also another factor. Look at that. At 88, I'm just pulling away from. Now we got this clusterfuck here. Made it. When to turn in is one of the things you got to learn how to, you know, as the handling changes. Because if it gets, the easier it'll turn. So kind of a little bit deeper you can drive it. The deeper, I don't hit the brakes unless I need to point it. See, it's sliding out of the groove there, so I had to hit the brakes to get it to point. That's going to cost me a spot. So we're 5 laps to go. We can either pit now or we can wait one more lap. The 18 is not threatening us. That's cold driving. If we get hit the wrong way, we're gonna, you know, we're not gonna be able to recover it like normal. 5%. So we will be pitting this time. If it was the end of the race, I would go for it, but it's not. Picture. $13.3. You saw it here. It is possible. It's not a full tank of gas though. See, in Heat 5, I think they changed that. So if you take a full tank, you know, full tank of gas, it doesn't really make that much of a difference if you're taking tires. Don't know why, but I've never gotten that fast to stop. Where is he? Oh, he's Harrison Burton. I haven't raced Harrison all day. I came out in front of him. Oh, I'm faster. What happened to Creed? Oh, there he is. I guess they got the lap time. I guess they got the third stage blues this time. This is what I mean about when I was on just before I pitted, not hanging it out. Well, we should be able to bring this thing home. Definitely more fun when you got a guy that's, you know, pretty much just as fast as you. Not stupidly faster than you, but, you know, I think we got a good balance right now. I know I'm messing. Everybody's pitting. Okay, it's gonna me and him for 10 laps. Let's see if I can maintain or increase the distance. Wow, see, it's still doing that. And it kind of launches me out a little half a lane up. That's 10th. There was still a car between us. Some more cars. There we go. Trucks, cars, trucks. Yeah. I think it's safe to say. We got this one in the bag. There we go. Track record. Or, like they did that, was it 2015 when they upped the horsepower? A new track record! Yeah, we got low fuel and fresh tires, so it's not amazing, but it is a good thing. And we only beat it by, what, 7 1/1000? 601, 592, 8. And we got more speed in this thing. I'm still sliding more than I'm moving forward, so. It just so happens the speed that the game that has these at on Legend is a lot slower than me. Now this is, you know, they're pretty much running faster than what the guys in real life would be running. In real life, what I noticed, act like WWT, they fall off a lot more. I mean, like 2 seconds slower than we did. And that's huge, you know? I mean, we're running ridiculously fast, which, you know, might be, you know, fun to a point, but it's also means that we're all fast when you think about it. Some of us are faster than others. Oop, gotta watch that. I have a tendency to drift into the second wall over here, and that if you do that, you know, it's a solid wall. These guys just fitted a little harder to pass them. 3 laps. Keep it right in the grip. It's great when you can. Yeah, see stuff like this. I did that. Alright, are we gonna have a caution? There's a ghosted guy. He was ghosted or he's laying down smoke. Why would you have a ghosted guy in AI? Think about that. White flag. Well, it might look easy, but it wasn't. It was a lot of driving. Most wins are hard to come by. You know, it's a really good setup. Still got to fine tune it. You know, we're probably 85%, you know, of its max potential. Sometimes when you fix it, it doesn't make it that much faster. And you know, like I firmly believe we are pushing the fastest that we can go after 5 years. But I did see a goal of 33.4 for this particular track, this truck, this race. So if I ran a 5.93, even if it was low fuel, if I ran a 5.93, then that means the game thinks I can run faster than a 4.0. So yeah, I would tend to agree. It's just moving forward. What do? You know, do you increase gearing? Because we're already redlining. Do you lower the gearing? You know, which I'll have to change the brake bias a little bit. You know, entering the turns faster. You know, do you know, what gets you faster? You know, we got it incredibly good driving now at the end of the race. Which reminds me, I gotta remember to update the in-race adjustments with the pre-race setup and put that in quick race. And you know, it's a flat track, and it's a track that I struggle at, because figuring out what a flat track needs is different than a bank track. Bank tracks, to be fair, you know, are a lot easier to figure out what works and doesn't work, because you do have a cushion with the banking. You know, you can enter the turns faster, you can go through the middle of the turns faster, and typically you can exit faster. So you have a bunch of speed that the nature of the track just kind of hands to you, and it's how you manage it. So there's like a part of the setup process that's kind of removed. When you get to road courses and flat tracks, though, it's different. Especially like this here's where we're going back and forth. Literally, it was like 10 laps, and there it is. And then you know, each turn is different. That just quadruples, you know, or multiplies the complexity, and it's not easy, because you don't have to make a lot of grip at most bank tracks, especially if they're high bank, like Daytona and Talladega. I mean, I had a setup where I ran a 46, you know, 1 wedge, and it's like, you know, and then now I have a setup that, you know, you be just as fast with a 50 wedge. But you can do those kind of setups at a track like Daytona and Talladega. You know, there's many ways to hit the same goal. And, you know, like there's high wedge setups that work, there's low wedge setups that work. But you got to get all the other things right for the particular type of setup you're doing. And if you know how to build them a certain way, and they're fast, and you're liking them the way they drive, stick with it. You don't have to go changing everything all the time, because if it's a setup that you could drive from lap 1 until you have to pit, well, you know, with maneuverability, that's probably going to be a better race setup overall. We are racing, so if you have a fast setup that you just can't, you know, like drive after 30 laps, it might not be the best setup unless you're in a 30 lap race. So, you know, there's lots of things to consider, but I always go for, you can drive it all the way down to the pit stop, and you maintain a certain speed, you know. So starting off is good, but as I'm building setups, such a good lead, 11 wins. Starting off building setups, you just want it to drive the whole way, and then you see how fast you are compared to the other guys you're racing with, whether they be AI, whatever level you set it for, or you know, online, and then you know, you figure out what your goal is. You know, like sometimes when I started out, I had terrible fire off speed, but I had great end of run speed. So what would happen is I'd fall back to maybe, you know, 8th, 9th, 10th place on the start, and everybody would go, you know, barreling ahead of me, and you know, be like a track like Martinsville, they'd be like half a lap ahead of me, and then we come down second half of the run, and I start gaining on it. I start picking them off, you know, moving back up through the order, and I won some races that way. I won a championship that way. Technically two. So, you know, and then you race with a guy who's like ridiculously fast, and you realize, like, damn, I gotta get faster. And then, you know, it's like, well, how do you do that? You look at your setup, it's like, where do I go? That's where I'm at now. We're good, you know, we can be competitive in pretty much any league that we go to. Maybe not at every track, but we can definitely figure out how to run top 5, you know, pretty much anywhere, except maybe some of the road courses, because you get some of these, you know, guys, they're just packed with road course mavens, aces. Oh, we hit our goal, 3 top 10s. So we got run the next race at New Hampshire. New Hampshire, another flat track. Another track I can apply what we did today and at Kentucky to, maybe. We'll see. I'm excited, you know, and this is an old game and everybody is, you know, whatever, but making progress is a big turn on, you know, to me, you know, as far as you know, racing and stuff, and that's cool. Also, I just noticed we're at $4.5 million, so we might be buying a car. We'll probably be like, you know, 10,000 short or something. So we'll see when we get to that race. But for now, thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, ask me questions, anything. Thank you so much for coming along for the ride, and we'll see you next time.